Saludos, 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 familia. Beautiful day. Last night was the first presidential debate. What a show. That's the only thing I can say. Today I decided to watch the full debate again because yesterday when I was watching it, I caught up in some, let's call it, marketing tactics that politicians use to influence people and win elections. And the reason I know those things is because I've been studying communication uh, for a long time, many years. And recently, I would say about the last 14 months, I've been studying very hard politic marketing. And I am not, what I'm about to say, this has nothing to do with one side or the other, or one person or the other, or if you should use these tactics or not. Because some, in my opinion, they're not ethical, but that is up to you to decide if you want to use them or not. When these tactics are used correctly, they work. That's why people keep using them. And before you ask why, Angel, why you're studying political marketing, first of all, I don't have any plans of becoming a political consultant. The reason I started studying political marketing is because after interviewing several people, if you know me, I try to learn from people that are doing what the best thing in the ground. And I asked a lot of questions. I stumbled upon a political strategist, and he said something that caught my attention, meaning that politicians are not contrary to what people believe, politicians are not transactional based marketing. They don't use transactional based marketing, meaning they're not there looking for your vote. They want to create a long term relationship with the voter. And as a business owner, somebody that's run businesses or help marketing businesses, if you are a business owner and you can create a long term relationship with a customer, so when the person needs what you're selling, they don't have to search. They know that you are the right person. That is a win-win for a service, a product that is actually helping the community. It has nothing to do with politics. And that's why politic marketing started catching my attention. So, but I have to make a confession. I started watching the full debate again, but about the 15-minute mark, when they start bickering and fighting and talking over each other, I had to stop. But I do have 3 points in the first 15 minutes that are marketing tactics, communication marketing tactics that let me share. By the way, I am going to share in the comments the timestamps and the links to the video. I was watching a video from on YouTube from the Wall Street Journal. Last night we watched it on Facebook Live. So they started first with the. Let me bring up my. Actually, I'm going to read the notes. They've divided this in segments. It was supposed to be a few segments of 2 minute each questions, and the first one was about the Supreme Court. What it caught my attention in the message, and again, this has nothing to do with either side. What it caught my attention in the message is that when Trump said at minute 3:41, we won the election for 4 years. I'm still the president. I have the right to choose the next Supreme Court justice. If the Democrats were in power, they would be doing the same thing. Biden answers, we should wait until the next election. And then he made a comment that he has nothing against the person Trump nominated. It, in communications, you have to know whether you are. The easiest way to you to learn things like this is to join Toastmasters. And this is not a Toastmasters video, but this is the easiest way that anybody can start learning what to say and what not to say and when to shut up and not say anything, because you talking, it hurts your message more. The tactic that Trump used here is basically make your enemy live to his own book of rules. If you do that, because let's face it, the reality is that politicians, when it comes to politics, maybe you as a person can live to your own rules as much as you can, but politicians, because there are so many stakeholders involved, it's impossible for them to live up to their own rules. So if you don't come prepared for every possible scenario when you're facing somebody that likes to push the buttons, other people's buttons, like President Trump, you already lost the debate. And if you lost the debate, it doesn't matter how big your base is. The people that are undecided, or the people that are having this, they're undecided, they're not going to pick you. It has nothing to do with size. It's always what you're saying. I think Biden made a mistake in the same sentence when he said he brought up the Affordable Care Act when he was talking about the Supreme Court, because he said, and I'm reading the notes here, because if you add stuff to, let's call it fluff, to the answer, like these politicians like to do, doesn't matter if president, senate, doesn't matter who they are, you're leaving yourself open to make mistakes. And that's when he said, she seems like a nice person. Then Trump quoted when he brought up when Biden brought up the Affordable Care Act, and then he brought up Roe versus Wade. Trump quoted Justice Ginsburg, rest in peace, of course. A president is elected for 4 years, and because his term is not up, the term is not up, he still has an opening, and his job is to nominate somebody to fill that seat. Then both started arguing, but President Trump kept the pressure on. So you keep the pressure on to keep your opposition out of balance, the person you're debating off balance. As the opposition masters one approach, you hit him from the flank, military approach, right? But you have to keep the pressure. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm not telling you to do that, but that's exactly what happened during the debate. Then at minute 8:26, Biden made another mistake when he brought up COVID survivors and then pre-existing condition for upcoming, if the Affordable Care Act gets repealed. Then Trump replied with military death, that Biden didn't do anything and basically had inadequate health care. And that if Biden was in charge, instead of 200,000 deaths, it would have been 2 million, because Biden didn't want to close the borders or ban China. And regardless of what position you are, when you answer questions that way, there are people that will say, it's true. I talked to people that hated Trump before the debate, and now they're voting for them as of today. Biden needs to come up. If Biden wants to get ahead, regardless of what the poll said, remember what happened in 2016. The poll said something and President Trump ended up winning. Regardless of what the poll said, I believe if Biden wants to win, he needs to come more prepared next time. And muting the microphone, what will be amazing for upcoming debates so we can actually listen a proper answer, I don't think is going to help Biden, because when it's President Trump's turn, he's going to push his buttons once again. At 9:02, Vice President Biden brought up Roe versus Wade, and he said that Trump is opposed, and and right now it was some Roe versus Wade. It has something in the court, which Trump replied, "You don't know that. You don't know it's on the ballot. Why it's on the ballot? It's not on the ballot. It's nothing happening there, and you don't know her views on Roe versus Wade." Good answer, because Biden didn't reply, didn't say anything after that. He's losing points. That was round one. Then they jumped to healthcare. And the second segment, Trump took over. He pretty much didn't let the moderator speak at first, but then the moderator said, "You signed a largely symbolic executive order 5 days before the debate to protect people with pre-existing conditions." So he tried to jam him with the symbolic use of the word use, but then he said to protect pre-existing conditions before the debate, right? Trump replied, "I guess I'm debating you, not Joe." The price of a successful attack is a constructive alternative. That's another tactic that politicians use. Never let your enemy score points because you are caught without a solution to the problem. Trump also said in that segment, "I'm cutting drug prices." Then he points out that that Biden was there for 47 years in politics, and he never did anything. So he's always on the attack. But again, if you already made up your mind for Biden, nothing that I say will probably change your mind, but doesn't remove the fact that these communication tactics work when they're used properly in the right context. They might be disgusting to a lot of people. They might be morally, unethically wrong, but that doesn't mean that they don't work. That's why I tell people all the time, because you know how to talk doesn't mean that you know how to communicate. We need to know how to shut up, do strategic pauses. We need to come prepared when we do a speech, when we talk on videos, when we do Facebook Lives. It's just, I'm going to leave the links to each segment so you can go back and review. But then they start arguing about, after I stop at the 15-minute mark, and they were arguing, and honestly, that just is not presidential. It's not. Decency has to win. Decency has to win in this world. If not, what about our kids? What our kids are going to be learning? I'm going to leave it with one last point, because it happened towards the end, which I remember from last night, which is when Trump started talking about Vice President Biden's son, the one that got kicked out of the military. That tactic, once you know something like that, in politics, it's called picking the target, freezing and personalizing and polarizing it. You got to pick the target, and it has to be a person. And it's true. Vice President Biden's son got kicked out of the military for cocaine use. And whether he overcame that, like many other people or not have done, that's not the point. The point that it was brought up in the debate, and some people might not know that and now have a different view from the vice president family. You might not, but that doesn't mean that other people are not changing their mind. Look, when it comes to communicating, whether it's written or verbal, through video or through a blog post or a social media post, things that you say have power. On marketing, copywriting is meant to be salesmanship on print. And there are people that study copywriting just to make you buy something when you land on the website. It's a whole field about that with smart people that create great headlines and engaging copy that you have to read, you feel that you need to read, and you're going to take action. The majority of the people that I know in that field, they're ethical and they promote things that are amazing. But that doesn't mean, we are humans. They're bad people. That doesn't mean that bad people are not using these weapons of mass destruction for their own benefit, meaning filling their pockets. If you're not aware of these tactics, and that's the whole purpose of this video, you will be influenced one way or the other without knowing it. Unfortunately, that's how it works. NLP, psychology, all these practices, it's ingrained in our human. That's how we think and we communicate. I would challenge you to make decency a good ambition. You will win at the end. Drama and problems are no bueno. In my opinion, life is a lot better when we can all get along. With that said, my friend, I would love to know your comments about politics, marketing. You can leave me a comment. Just I ask you not to be nasty, because again, this is not about one side or the other. This is just about tools that not just politicians use, many business owners use, and many entrepreneurs use to influence your decision. Whether they're right or wrong, that is up to each person applying those tools to use or not. I'm going to be transparent with you. What I do, marketing, I love it, and I knock people's doors all the time, and I push buttons because I know I can help people. If I was trying to scam people, my character will not let me. After 20 years in the military, and having a family, having a retirement paycheck, I have no need to be preaching or selling anything. Having 2 kids that I have to lead by example. I don't have to, but that's how I think. I know that what I'm doing is right, but that doesn't mean that everybody's the same way. So be careful, pay attention. I know you're smart. And again, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. See you on the next one. Peace out.